Okay, so I wanted to share a dream that I had probably, I don't know, a few nights ago. Um, it was an animal totem medicine dream. Well, part of a dream, a little blip in my dream time. And it was bat, which was interesting because I saw something. It must have been a bird because it was during the day. So I was like, well, I thought to myself, it probably isn't a bat though, but because I saw it flying like from the back, and it was really fast, but so I couldn't really tell what it was, but for whatever reason, bat came into my mind. But I was like, well, it can't be bat because it's during the day. So I remember having that like rational, like, discussion in my own head of like, so I remember that popping into my head and then going, no, like, it had to have been some kind of bird. But then, so I had a dream, I believe after that happened, yeah. So it was already coming to me, because I'm not out at night. I'm not, not going to see bats. I'm not too far up in the mountains to where I would probably see bats. Maybe if I was up on the hill, but up on the ridge or something. But so this bat in my dream. So let me explain the scene of what everything looked like. It was kind of like like when you walk into a like an old-fashioned theater, or just, it seemed like we were kind of coming around like when performers, before they get on stage, but it was like there was a hallway kind of on the side of where the audience would be, like in a big amphitheater, indoor dark amphitheater, and it like led you to the stage, to the front. So kind of like that pathway they have inside of a theater or whatever, along the ends of the rows of seats, but a wall kind of like blocked off, so you couldn't imagine a wall being there, so you couldn't see the audience or any of the seats until you came all the way around to the end where the stage was, and then everything was like kind of presented to you. So I'm kind of walking around this thing, and it's dark, and I feel like there's like, it's kind of like walls on both sides, like this hallway kind of rounding around, and it's dark, and I come to the end, and so I see over to my right, there's a stage, because I'm walking like, it would be like on the left side of the audience, so when you come out at the end, it's kind of like to your right. So I kind of peered around the corner, and my eye was led to where the light was, which was like this little, there was this spotlight, it was like shining on the stage, everything else was dark, and it was like this little stage, and there was this little bat, well, kind of big actually, but once I got up close, I realized how big it actually looked. It seemed really dark and small, but as I got up closer, it got bigger and lighter, and started like opening up more, like revealing itself more, like, but not very much at all, just kind of like, when like dancers, modern dance, or you see it a lot where like they start off kind of like a blossom, and then they kind of emerge and open up, and I don't know, you see that like in ballet, and I've seen that in dance, and like professional dance on TV, like musicals, whatever. But it's like, yeah, you see that a lot in modern dance too. It's like this I don't know, this common theme in dance of like, just in life in general, of this blossoming, okay, but it's shown in dance as a certain way, and because it was on the stage, and so he was kind of like this, and I say he because I guess I was just getting like a masculine energy from the bat. So yeah, as I got closer, it kind of started opening its eyes a little bit more. It seemed bigger and bigger and lighter and lighter until it was like a light brown, like beige, like tan, light tan, really light tan. And it kind of like peaked, kind of like how if you're faking asleep, like faking like you're asleep, and then you kind of peek to see if whoever, you know, is watching you, you're kind of like trying to be sly and like peek your eye around the corner. It was kind of like, he was kind of creeping open like that, just like opening one eye over his wing, that because he had his wings like kind of over, like protecting his head and front of his body a little bit, you know how like bats hang, but he was perched upright on the stage, not hanging on anything. He was upright, wasn't upside down. He was just seated and all wrapped up like that. So it was just the very beginning stages of like the eyes peering open and it being lighter, more expanded. So, and then when I was sitting with the energies, because before I research any animals, some I know, sometimes if they come by a lot, it'll be like, okay, go just look it up and go on a little trail of breadcrumbs, and there's some more words that are going to resonate with you. That's the message for right now. So sometimes that will happen, but usually if it's in my dream, it's going to be an animal that I won't naturally see, and it might even be in my natural environment, but I might not cross paths with it because maybe it's, you know, nocturnal or what have you. But so what I was getting was this word transitioning, and I was like, okay, like that Harriet Tubman energy, like the light worker vibe of like helping people transition. And then I was thinking of like Julia Roberts popped into my head in that movie Flatliners, and death and transitioning and all this stuff. And then I hardly watch anybody out here, but once in a while, you know, I'll catch a twin flame video if it's someone I, you know, really resonate with. And it was like I could feel that word bubbling up in her because she was getting to that, the way she was explaining something. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna say that word transitioning. And I think I was kind of, because I like to stew with the energies of a dream when there's a message, so I can really make sure that I feel solid with what the message is and what the message is, and so I can feel that coming. I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna say transitioning, and she did, and I'm like, oh. It kind of was like a relief, like, yes, I knew I was right on about that, because I did a little bit of research on it, because it's been a few days, and I didn't find that word. I mean, I didn't go too deep into it, but I just wanted confirmation that what I was getting intuitively was correct, what my team wanted me to know, you know, what God was trying to tell me. So that was confirmation. And what I did find was it's kind of like a guide through the darkness. That's what bat medicine represents. And that kind of is like transitioning. It's like the tunnel, the passageway emerging from one world, one realm, one dimension, one universe, one existence, whatever however you want to label it, from one into the other. You don't even have to give it a name. You can just say emerging from one into the other. So that's what bat medicine does. It helps transition you through the darkness, through things that are unknown, things that we don't yet have in our conscious mind in this lifetime, like the experience of death. So some have had a near-death experience, or just epiphanies or revelations of healing and connecting with God and surrendering to God, and through a major illness or something. Not to say that every time someone has a major illness that happens, but it tends to happen in one way or the other. However you co-wrote the script with God, but so, and that was like that Harriet Tubman vibe, of like the transitioning. That's what she helped slaves do. All they ever knew was slavery, and then they're escaping, going to freedom, liberating themselves, being their true, organic, authentic selves. Really just returning. It's not really a liberation, it's just a returning to your truth, your true, authentic, organic self. So she was like bat medicine, the darkness, the transitioning through that passageway. It can be dark and scary, and so there's guides. Our team's always there to help guide us, give us advice. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to do a separate video, but I swear to God, every time I go to the food bank, there's just magic. So I'm gonna make this one brief and just focus on bat medicine, and you can look it up for yourself if you're so inclined, and just different words will pop out, and different time, and at different times of your life, maybe these animals will return. And like I said, if they keep coming back and you're like, oh, you see that animal and you're like, oh yeah, squirrel medicine, okay, but then you see it again and then you see it again, it's like maybe you need to just go Google it and go play around finding different things that see what resonates with you, because maybe there's a new message that for this time, for right now, that same animal that you might already be familiar with might be bringing you a different aspect, a different facet, different message, a different kind of medicine. So bat medicine, a guide through the darkness, and that is definitely needed right now. A lot of people are having weren't feeling their twin for a while, maybe they are again now, and having like a dark return of the dark night of the soul, and really I got some confirmation from a personal reading that I did for myself that the divine feminine is focusing on herself. And if we're a mirror of each other, then when we focus on ourselves, the divine masculine focuses on us as well. When we're chasing them and focusing on them, they are mirroring that and also chasing themselves and focusing on themselves. And of course that's going to be ego. So when you're focusing on yourself and not focusing on chasing them, you're just focusing on you, the divine feminine. When you focus on you, they focus on you, the true, authentic you. Not the runner chaser dynamic of ego. That's not the true self. So, and then they also, the other aspect of focusing on self is they focus on themselves as well. And then when you focus on your twin flame, when you focus on your masculine, you think of their true, organic, authentic self, which is all lifetimes, timelines combined, integrated, merged, and ultimately dissolved. So it's like a soul purification, kind of like a liberation from the ties to the soul, and just a realignment with your factory standard issue God code blueprint. So trust during this time, okay, that if you're focusing on yourself in a healthy way, that your twin is also doing that, focusing on you and also focusing on themselves in this healthy way. Okay, and that's when we've mastered that mirroring. So know that your guides are with you. Your twin flame is there as a tool to tap into. Just little winks and nods, a lot of them lately from the universe. So, and that usually comes when it's most needed. So, and I know, I've had a couple rough days here and there, so, and it was needed, and, so, and it was given to me. So, if you need that comfort, confirmation from your team that they're there for you, you will get that. But you can't have any expectations or attachments to what that will look like, because we can't control everything. We have to remember that. But, certain things, if you're very, very specific, okay, the more specific, the better when you're calling something in for yourself. But when we're kind of in this dark night of the soul, desperation kind of mode of the lower aspect, the lower polarity of the ego, the negative side, we kind of just have to surrender and be like, God, just give me some comfort, give me some, because when we're there, it's a very muddled, confusing state, so it will probably be very difficult to be clear on what you want. You just need some confirmation and comfort, that your team's there, that, that you're not alone. And I'm here to let you know you're not alone as well. But we all feel that sometimes. But then you get synchronicities with people that are just like, that blow your mind to the point where it's not just even just a license plate or time on a clock. It's like so much to where it's just like, okay, the universe is like, how much confirmation do you need? We're like, flooding it into you. But they'll do that until you feel better, until you're like, okay, I have, thanks team, I know you guys are, thanks for cheering me up. And then they're like, okay, good, we love you, we're glad you feel better. Because they're your family. They're, when we're pure spirit, we're omni, just like God. We are omni everything. So we're everything, everywhere, all the time. Because that's like what the holographic universe is. Everything is within everything is within everything is within everything. Or you can do it in the reverse. Everything is without everything is without every. Okay, so micro, macro, it just goes in, down, deeper, or out, more expansive. So just know you're not alone. We're all going through this in our own way, but you know, as far as when different fluxes with energies are flowing, and the moon and this and that, we experience it differently as individuals, but know that we're all experiencing it and going through it at the same time, okay? And just roll with it and know that your guides are always there. They're always there. And if you need comfort, clarity, compassion, just call on them. Call on your angels. Call on your guides. Call on God, your ancestors. You know, you will get the messages. You know, it may not be like a hammer dropping on your head. It may be a little subtle, so, you know, you have to really dedicate time to that when you need that advice. You can't be trying to do it when you're doing a million other things. So, you know, even if it's 5 minutes, dedicate that time to that, you know, connecting with Spirit, with God, having that little chat, asking that question, setting that intention. Yeah, so I'll share some in a future video, but just know the guide through the darkness, bat medicine, is here to let you know you're not alone, that there's experts in this field in transitioning, and that's what we're doing. That's the energy right now, is this major transition. That's the shift that I'm feeling. That's occurring in this now. So, transition. Time to transition, people. All right. I love you guys. Peace and blessings.